What's up, Weirdo? Shade Tree Surgeon here with one quite unlikely road glide that has managed to change my mind. But changed my mind about what, you might ask? Well, the thing about road glides is I've really always liked the way they look. Something about the shark nose I just really dig. I like the fixed fairing. I think it looks way cooler than the street glide. And even on other bikes, I like the fixed fairing, like the FXRT fairing, and probably what is the best looking fairing on the market, in my opinion, the fairing that's on the Vulcan Voyager. I'm not alone, of course. I think that a lot of people like the way it looks. That's not exactly a hot take. I put plenty of miles on several different road glides, and this one looks like it's falling over. I swear, it's just a weird angle. It's not in any danger of falling over. At least I hope it's not. Let's go ahead and go to a different angle, though. That's giving me anxiety looking at it in my camera viewfinder. Okay, I think that's gonna be a little bit better. I have less anxiety, at least. This is the first road glide, even though I've ridden a bunch of them, that I've actually lived with for a while, and I never really thought I'd want one till now. Unfortunately, I'm not gonna get to keep this one. This road glide is gonna belong to somebody watching this video right now. We're raffling it off with 100% of the proceeds going directly to Forgotten Angels to help their fight against the cycle of abuse in the foster care system. This house behind me right here is going to be the Kira Atterly House for Women. It's going to house up to 22 young women, some of them with children of their own already, who have been made homeless at the age of 18 by bad acting foster care homes after being completely insanely abused by their families, let down by the system, and just left to literally die. We'll talk a little bit more about Forgotten Angels later, but let's put some miles on this road glide. I gotta get them in now because this video is coming out Wednesday and we're pulling the winner for it in just 3 days. So if you like to wait till the last minute, now's your chance, and I'm not gonna wait a minute longer to put some miles on it because technically right now it's still in my possession, and possession's 9/10 of the law. Hell yeah. Now, trust me, it's not lost on me that when they got a paint job loud as this, Olean suspension, Brembo brakes, and a sound system that'll make your neighbors hate you along with the exhaust, it definitely makes any bike a lot easier to love. My very first experience with the road glide, you know, I want to say it was like 5 years ago, but it wasn't, because 5 years ago it was 2020 and we were in the middle of a pandemic. Everything in my life just feels like it was 5 years ago or 10 years ago, and 5 years ago was anything that happened in the 2000s, and 10 years ago was the 90s. I know you guys feel my pain on that one. Maybe you don't, because my second largest demographic besides the age that I am is still in their 20s, so for some of you guys out there, 10 years ago, you were still in high school, which is all right, man. I don't give a damn. So if I'm being honest, my very first road glide experience was at the Southern California Motor Vlogger Meetup, hosted by Baker X Derek, Suburban Delinquent, Person Rides. God damn, dude, I don't want to say it, but we're pushing more like 9 years ago, I think that was. Damn. We'll just take the fact that it was under a decade. And my first experience with the road glide wasn't great. It wasn't the worst. It just didn't leave a good impression on me. Of course, I kind of set it up for failure, if I'm being honest, which is something I really only realized in retrospect. Jesus Christ on a pogo stick, buddy. You can't be doing that to me first thing in the morning. I already had my morning monsties. As I was saying, now that I am most assuredly awake, I really set up my first time on a road glide for failure. I was riding 2 up with enough luggage for 14 days on a original 107 Milwaukee 8. I had high hopes for the Milwaukee 8 and the road glide because I just had heard everybody talk about how awesome they were, and I was underwhelmed. like I said, we were way overweight, and I was coming off my Triumph Rocket 3. So, coming off a 150 plus horsepower bike and jumping on something, I'd never ridden a motorcycle with a fixed fairing at that point, so I just was freaked out because I felt like I couldn't see the front wheel. I was in California, so I was lane splitting on a motorcycle that was pushing the scales at like 1,400 pounds. That's with the motorcycle, me, a passenger, and all our luggage. Hell, it might have been 1,500 pounds. It was heavy. That 107 just was not up to the task. It just felt so slow, and it just was not a great experience. Just to say that I had done it, I actually drove in 5 o'clock traffic at 5 o'clock all the way from Griffith Observatory all the way to Long Beach on the highway, lane splitting the entire time, because I wanted to see what it was like in rush hour traffic to lane split. Now, I was doing it on one of the worst motorcycles possible to do it on, not one that's done up, because what I realized is this fairing, it seems so wide if you're not used to having one, but it's really not that bad. Mine was just bad because I was overloaded way to the max. And these things are like a cat's whiskers. If the front end fits, the ass end's gonna fit. So I really didn't have that much to worry about besides feeling a little unsteady. I also was trying to do as many named roads and mountain passes and all this crazy riding I could possibly do. It was my very first time ever being in California. Again, just doing it on equipment that wasn't really made to do it. So I left California and my first experience with the Road Glide with not a bad taste in my mouth, but just really kind of thinking, damn, what's all the hype about? Why do people like these so much? Just underwhelmed. And in between now and then, I put plenty of miles on plenty of road glides. Everything from the original shovelhead tour glide all the way up to supercharged 135 cubic inch road glides. Now, once you've thrown a leg and twisted the throttle wide open on a 200 horsepower road glide, you can't say that you've been underwhelmed by road glides as a whole anymore, okay? You gotta make some admissions there and go, okay, this can be a very fast motorcycle. And yes, I know they don't come that way, but that's not the point. I'm just saying I can't just go, road glides are slow. And after riding one with O'Lean suspension, I can't say road glides handle poorly. Nowadays, Harley puts some pretty trick suspension, brakes, and all sorts of different stuff on those bikes. If you buy a brand new one, it is fast as hell, handles great, and stops amazing right out of the gate. Luckily, and this is always the thing that rocks about Harley, even if you buy an old one, all that stuff is still possible to put on it. So you can buy a Road Glide from 2008 and still put Brembo brakes, O'Lean suspension, and make a motor that makes like 160, 170 horsepower. All of this stuff is still 100% possible. Oh, we got a little sandhill crane crossing? All right, not today, buds. And yes, certainly they're better after they've been upgraded, but that's only half of it, because you could really say that about almost any Harley Davidson outside of a V-Rod. The upgrade potentials on it are endless. The aftermarket support is insane, and I won't even say this about this one because all that crap's already been done. Somebody else already spent all the money. This thing's got over $20,000 in parts and paint on it. Even if you win it and you don't like the way it's done, hell man, sell the O'Leans, the Brembos, and some of these Kraus risers, and you'll have enough money to do it up the way you want to do it. This is the very first one that I've ever lived with, and I will tell you, I really dig it. I don't even know if I can put my finger on exactly what I like about it. Maybe it's just that I've gotten totally used to this fairing. Maybe I've gotten totally used to how much leg room I have and how well it handles. And I don't know, just how freaking easy these rubber mounted twin cams are. The luggage, the seat. I don't know if it's just this whole package or if it's Road Glides in general or just specifically this one, but this is the very first time I've ever been saying to myself, damn, dude, I think I want a Road Glide. It only took me almost a decade after riding my first one to change my mind about them. Nobody ever said I moved fast. The only thing old Shade Tree Surgeon does fast is ask for another beer, all right? When it comes to making decisions, I suffer from pretty extreme paralysis. So I finally made a decision. I like the Road Glide. I say with a resounding bellow to the heavens, to literally nobody cares. Who cares if I like like it or hate it. If you've got one and you love it, that's really all that matters. Or if you've got a motorcycle you love and you hate them, I don't know, knock yourself out, bud. Really, there's no skin off my nose. I think it's because so many people love them that they generate so much hate as well. Just kind of that groupthink thing that happens where, you know, you get a subsection of people, they will always root for the opposite of what's popular. These bikes got popular for a reason. And I'm realizing it now. It's because it freaking rules, dude. It's awesome. I see why there's so many of them out there. I really do. Well, anytime that happens and there's a bunch of them out there and everyone's talking about how great they are, there's always going to be a lot of people who are just like, fuck specifically that motorcycle. Screw that. I think it sucks. Everyone else is an idiot and I'm the only smart one who has taken the road less traveled. I'm not even saying you're wrong. You know, whatever you want and it's right for you, that's fine. Doesn't have to be this bike, but I'm just saying you got to admit that that is a phenomenon that happens pretty frequently and very frequently with motorcycles. And for some people, there's no pleasing them. They're just always going to hate it no matter what. It happens. The kind of people that no matter what you say you love about the motorcycle, they will always come up with some third mysterious reason why you really like it. You've been duped by the marketing. You're just a sheep who's following all the other people. You've never actually ridden a fast motorcycle. Like, I don't know. They'll think up a million different reasons as to why you are fooled into liking the bike and you don't actually like it. You actually would like something else that you haven't tried yet that they think is good. I mean, it's just when you really start to break it down and really take a step back and look at it, it's such a ridiculous argument. And I know I'm creating this person that doesn't exist and being like, screw that guy particularly who freaking says all this dumb shit that I can easily disprove. I know I'm strawmanning. I get it. Trust me. But that person does exist, okay? You have encountered him before if you've spent any amount of time on the internet in motorcycle arenas. Yeah, early on when I really first started getting into making motorcycle content on my YouTube channel, I used to talk a lot of shit about Harleys. I still talk a lot of shit about Harleys. It got to the point where people were messaging me on places and going like, hey, I watch your channel, I really dig it. I'm sorry I ride a Harley. They'd be like apologizing for it. And I'd be looking at it going like, what the hell? Why would you be sorry that you ride a Harley? You think I fucking care? Slightest, I don't give a damn. And then when I got my first Harley Davidson, which was my FXR, I started riding that around a little bit and everyone goes like, damn, this turned into a Harley channel? I remember when you used to hate Harleys, now it's nothing but Harleys. And I'm like, dude, I talk shit about everything. Just because you happen to tune in on the day when I was talking shit about something that you also don't like, and then the next day you come and I'm talking shit about something you do like, I'm not the one who's changed. I've always been like this. When it comes to talking shit, I'm a master, and 5 gold teeth later, I still haven't quite learned my lesson. And you know why that is? Because learning's for nerds! School sucks. Ride motorcycles instead. I mean, I kind of mean that. That's kind of tough for me to say when we're literally raffling this motorcycle off and giving it away for forgotten angels. And I'll put it like this. School sucked for me. But, you know, I just chose to do things in a little bit different way. I think school is pretty awesome for most people. I'm really happy that all of you guys have banded together to buy raffle tickets for this bike. I know we're just giving away this motorcycle and there's going to be, you know, 1,000 people who don't get a bike and one person who does, and that kind of sucks. I wish I could give motorcycles to all of y'all, but what you can feel good about is this. That $25, it goes a lot farther than you think. For someone who's on the street, for someone who's 18 years old and has been sexually, physically, and mentally abused by their family, and then betrayed by the system, let fall through the cracks, put out onto the street, homeless on their 18th birthday, with everything they own in a garbage bag, for somebody like that, $25, that can make all the difference in the world. That can save a life. That's what Dave and Cindy are doing with Forgotten Angels here on the end of Little Stearns Road. Welcome home. That's a home that they've never had, a place they can come back to when they screw up, a place they can come for advice, a place they can feel safe at. In a world like this, that's a mighty fine thing. I know a lot of you guys watching right now are pretty dang familiar with the Forgotten Angels property. Campouts we have twice a year are populated by all the people watching right now in the premiere. It's literally like Discord and premiere in real life. And speaking of the man of the hour, And our man Dave. A lot of you guys who've come to the camp out definitely know him. Dave is a combat wounded, disabled Army veteran, and well, I don't know if it was actually Army. I'm terrible about that. I know they get real sensitive about it. Maybe it was Navy, maybe it was Air Force. I don't know. I just know he's a disabled combat veteran. I don't know why I'm laughing at that. Anyway, I'm just excited because he just got a sailboat that he's going to start living on. I'm really digging that journey for him. Anyway, like I said, you guys are familiar with Forgotten Angels and what it looks like to ride through here, what it looks like to finally be home. And that's what we're doing here. For 25 bucks, you can change a life. 25 bucks is a tank of gas for somebody to get here. 25 bucks is a hot meal. 25 bucks is the difference between life and death for a lot of these kids. Because when you're 18 years old, you have absolutely no resources, no knowledge, no one you can rely on. 25 bucks can make all the difference in the world. And when they come here, they get to experience what a lot of you guys who have come to the camp out have experienced, what it's like to call a place home. Now, they don't stay here forever. The idea is that they're turned into productive members of society. David and Cindy teach them how to open a bank account, help them graduate high school, go to college. A lot of them are encouraged to join the military, and a lot of them do. They have young men who've come through the program who own their own houses now, who've gotten married, who are going to college, who are serving their country. Amazing things that they otherwise would have never gotten to do. These are young men and women that would have been on the streets, addicted to drugs, just another statistic. A lot of them wouldn't even be here anymore. To all you guys out there who have bought raffle tickets, not just for this motorcycle, but for the other ones that we've given away, that thin line between life and death, that thin line between success and failure, feel pretty good because you guys are the ones standing on it. I didn't have the best childhood. I will say it was far, far, far from the worst though. A lot of the young men and women that are coming through the program at Forgotten Angels. My childhood, as rough as it was, would have been a freaking paradise compared to what they got. I'm a lucky man. I can't deny that at all. Certainly I have a lot of the things I have through hard work, but a lot of the stuff I got, it's through luck of the draw. That's for damn sure. Unfortunately, in addition to the absolutely horrendous childhood, if you can even call it a childhood, it's more like just the first 18 years of a torture sentence. Unfortunately, a lot of them don't even get a life after that. A lot of them don't even make it at all. And unfortunately, it's a sad story just like that. That was the driving force for David and Cindy wanting to open up the Atterly House for Women. Great tragedy can bring great things about. It's just a goddamn shame it had to go down that way. Kira Atterly was a young woman that Dave and Cindy were mentoring. It goes without saying that Forgotten Angels is not a co-ed experience. That's what started the whole problem in the first place. So when they've mentored young women, it's never been on property. It's always been off property, in person type stuff. But Kira Atterly came from nothing, was homeless, and Cindy got her through high school, got her through college, was driving her every day to class, putting thousands of miles on her own vehicle, was driving her to work so she could have her first job, turned her life completely around. She went from being a homeless, drug-addicted teenager who had never gotten a break in life and been through hell and back, to being a productive member of society, to being in college, to having a job, to owning her first car. You know, you got pictures of her, Cindy and David together when she's buying her first car, and the smile on her face is from somebody who thought they would never own something like that. Tragically, Kira Atterly's life was taken, and her life was taken by one of her own family members for a few $100s. She was murdered in cold blood. It's a tragic story that I don't like telling. It devastated David and Cindy because Cindy and David, they looked at her like a daughter. That's the whole point with a lot of these young men and women, is they're like their kids. They treat them like their children. They have people they can call mom and dad. And when your child gets taken away from you, especially in such a horrific manner, especially right on the precipice of success after you've put all of that into her, all of your love, all of your time, your affection, and your hopes, when it goes down like that, I hope that's something I never have to experience. The Atterly House for Women is how we're honoring Kira Atterly's memory, and it will house up to 22 young women, a lot of whom who have children of their own at 18 years old and are coming out of foster care. There's going to be a house mom who lives on property. They're going to teach them how to be good mothers, how to take care of their kids, prevent them from having more kids, get them on the right track to get a job, go to college, have a place where their kids can be taken care of while they get their life together, keep the abusive people out of their lives, and prevent the cycle of abuse from continuing. Because the number one kid who ends up in foster care, well, his mom or dad were usually in foster care too. This house initially started out as a place that me and Shay Lisi were doing a short-term rent on when we figured our stuff out after we got kicked out of our last house. When it came up for sale, it only seemed like the right move to try to do something with Forgotten Angels because it's on such a big piece of property and the house itself is so large. Well, all I can tell you about it is this. There's a special place in hell for people who screw over a charity, and it's progressing. I can't talk about it right now, but the dude who screwed over Forgotten Angels in the process of us getting this house, not only is he going to do prison time after all this is said and done, but someone with karma that bad, I think there's a little higher stakes for the soul if you believe in that sort of thing. Who the hell would screw over a charity that does what David and Cindy do? Who would try to steal money from them? Who would try to swindle them? That's a human being I couldn't even imagine existed before this experience. Luckily, we're getting through it. If anybody's wondered why it's not the Atterly House Room yet and why me and Shay Lisi are still here, that's the reason why. I just can't share it all right now because it is an ongoing battle. One that has an end in sight and an end coming very, very soon. And can't wait to tell you guys the full story, even though it's gonna make your blood boil. I always talk about bad people doing good things and all of us needing a little extra karma in our life, but when you're confronted with somebody who's truly that evil, it kind of puts things in perspective, and it makes me very thankful for all you guys out there who do such amazing things, helping David and Cindy change the world, helping them save these young men and women. Really, really makes me feel like the luckiest dude in the world. We got a good team. We might be a little weird, might be a little smelly, definitely a bit awkward, and with our fair share of hyperfixation on motorcycles, but I still feel pretty damn good to have all y'all on my side. And now, for something completely different. Well, somebody definitely needs to practice their circle wheelies. All right, let me stop before I freaking embarrass myself. Well, actually, it might be too late for that. Some of you guys might remember the XR150 that could. I rode that little 150cc motorcycle across America on a single tank of gas. Now, it was a 14-gallon tank of gas, but I did it nonetheless, camping the whole way. It was an awesome time, and that was sponsored by Sessions. Sessions are our partners out in Oregon. If you live in Oregon or the PNW area, close enough to a border of Oregon to pull off some Smokey and the Bandit-style Han Solo activities, make sure you ask your local bud tender to go ahead and order Sessions to your favorite dispensary. We'll be back up in the PNW soon, and there's a chance I might just deliver it on Hot Fuzz. Now, as far as that bike right there goes, that was supposed to get given away. In fact, somebody won it. They took us up on the offer of flying down here, which all the bikes come with. They came down here, partied for the Forgotten Angels camp out, had an amazing time, and then decided to take a different bike that I had and not the XR150. Initially, I was pretty stoked because I had a lot of fun with that little bike over there, but I don't know. It seems like its fate was destined. The whole reason that Sugar Tree Jay from Sessions made that entire trip happen and this bike happen was to give it away for Forgotten Angels. So that's what we're gonna do. We're not gonna do a whole new raffle, but we're giving that bike away in a few days, very short amount of time to buy a ticket if you want to win that. But from the same pool of tickets that you could win the Miami device, the square grouper from, we're also gonna give away the XR150. So 24 hours after you watch this, hopefully you got here quick, we're pulling a winner for that motorcycle right there live. Now every single ticket bought will still count for that bike right there, but you got 24 hours to grab a ticket to win the XR150 and, of course, a trip down to the Wang for a weekend full of fishing, motorcycles, and debauchery. And I'm out of other motorcycles to give away, so you gotta take that one. Though I know for a fact it'll make it all the way home. You know, not quite the mighty roar of the square grouper, but that's all right. It's a different animal. Well, if you win the XR150 and choose to take that one-way plane ticket down to the Wang, I will tell you this, just a little extra time if you live pretty far, because it really doesn't like to do much above 60 miles an hour. 55 is where it's most comfortable, though on a downhill, I've had it as fast as 70. Now the uphill, well, let's not talk about the uphill. It's just such a fun little trail bike that's street legal. I mean, if it was mine, it'd be my beer getting machine, that's for sure. I'd stick a milk crate on the back and be making my runs to the stab and grab with it, which is what I used it before I took the trip and after I took the trip. Someone's definitely winning a fun little bike, and like I said, I don't know, I guess you could pick the Buell instead. The Buell is still up for grabs. I can't try to hide it and hope that nobody picks it before we pull the Miami device. You could still pick the Buell project over this. I don't know, you tell me which one you'd choose down below. The Buell still needs a few odds and ends to be roadworthy. Well, I mean, I don't know, I'd probably ride it around, but that's just me. But I wouldn't put anybody I really loved on it. So if you had to pick between the Buell, the orange sherbet barchetta, the forgotten muscle, or the off-road, well, it's not an off-road monster, but it does just a little bit of everything at its own pace. The XR150, everything it does is kind of slow, but it sure is fun doing it. Like I said, 24 hours, we'll be pulling a ticket for this. We're pulling from the pool of tickets for the Miami device, and still 100% of all those proceeds go directly to Forgotten Angels. As always, huge thanks to Sessions and our man Sugar Tree Jay out in Oregon. He's the one that makes a lot of this stuff possible. Hey, if you really want it to, I'll even throw in my Sessions branded gas tank that I did the trip with, if you really want it. Pretty impressive though, that 10 horsepower, 200 pounds, 150 cc's, it could take my fat ass 16 gallons of gas, camping equipment, food for 3 days, and everything in between, all the way from Tampa to Canada. My very first time in a foreign country. I was never really that worried though. After all, you see these things all over Indonesia and Vietnam. Hauling a family of 12, 3 generations, a bale of hay, and a couple of pigs up the side of a mountain, I figure it can handle me across this country. That's not just a fun play bike and stab and grab bomber. I mean, it's also a great teaching device too. This bike has taught a lot of people how to ride, namely on the channel, one Miss Chloe Cox. I know she's going to be sad to see it go, but I know she'll be happy to see it go on to have a whole lot of fun, or hopefully even teach a few other people how to ride. Well, guys, that link is down below. Like I said, you got 24 hours before we pull that ticket for the XR150, and come this weekend, somebody's winning the Miami device. The Square Grouper is going to make its smuggling run to its new home. As fun as these bikes are, and as much fun as I have making these videos and hanging out with everybody, it is all for a really amazing cause. We are bad people doing good things, and it feels pretty damn good. If you're in the premiere, this video is going to be dumping directly into a live stream on the Shaylisi channel, because she's finally been let back onto Tinder after a multi-year ban. If you're not watching this video in the live premiere, I will have the follow-up to this video linked down below. Live stream on the Shaylisi channel. I hope you guys come and hang out with us. It's gonna be a fun one. We always have a good time streaming with y'all. That link's down below, or if you're in the premiere, you'll automatically get taken there. See you over on the Shaylisi channel. Until next time, which is gonna be minutes from now, keep it weird.
Crashing through the sky comes a fearful cry. Shade tree, army. Shade tree, army. Armies of the night, evil taking flight. Shade tree, army. Shade tree, army. Nowhere to run, nowhere to hide. Panic spreading far and wide. Can the world oppose the deadliest of foes? Shade tree, army. Shade tree, army. Who will risk it all to end the evil call of Shade Tree, army. Shade Tree, army. They never give up, they never say die, walking tall with banners high. Shade Tree Army, a ruthless gang of scum, villains, freaks, and bikers determined to rule the world.